So 3.5 number summary and box plots. This is extremely simple if you've watched my last video. So what is the 5-number summary? The 5-number summary is a quick, resistant overview of a dataset's distribution. All it is the minimum, first quartile, median, and the second quartile and the maximum. So it's basically just a description of a dataset. If you're using median as the form of central tendency. Statisticians use the 5-number summary a lot, so it's just something that's important. It summarizes spread and extremes resistantly. So it's great for skewed data since it uses median. And median is resistant to skewed data, of course. Well, not entirely, but mostly. So first, to draw box plots, you calculate the interquartile range, which is just going to be Q3 minus Q1. You calculate the fences, which is just going to be, the lower fence is going to be quartile 1 minus 1.5 times the interquartile range, and quartile 3 is going to be plus 1.5 times the interquartile range. Interquartile range is just going to be Q3 minus Q1 as mentioned in step 1. You draw the box, draw vertical lines at all the quartiles, enclose them in a box. At the whiskers, the left whisker is from the first quartile to the smallest value above the lower fence. And I'll show that later. The right whisker is from the third quartile to the largest value below the upper fence. In short, the minimum value that is still not an outlier for the left whisker and the maximum value that is not an outlier for the right whisker. Any value below the lower or upper fence is an outlier. So let's go over here. And this is how you tell the shape of distribution. If it's symmetric, the median is in the center of the box. And that makes sense because that means that the median of the minimum to the median is going to be right in the middle, and it's going to be the same value as if it was to the right. So it is symmetric. If it's skewed right, that means the median is the left of center. The right whisker is going to be slightly longer. Skewed left is going to be median right of center, left whisker longer. So this is used to compare center spread and outliers between two groups, which is comparing box plot side to side. If the median is slightly higher in one group, then that means that the spaceflight might have reduced red blood cell mass. If we're doing like a test here, so yeah, it's the 5-number summary is just a great way for us to quickly and understand and interpret data. And yeah, so here's the interquartile range, and so first, the first quartile just goes somewhere on the line where the first quartile is. So if the first quartile is like negative 0.75, as it is here, then we're just going to put a line down there. Quartile 3 seems to be 0.75, and the median seems to be in the exact middle. So this is a symmetric data graph. And if the quartile 1 and quartile 3 are symmetric, then it also means that the whiskers are going to be symmetric. So it's important to know that this distance right here between the interquartile range and this line right here, or the quartile 1 and this line right here, are called the whiskers. This is the left whisker, and between quartile 3 and maximum are the right whiskers. So if this was slightly skewed to the left, like right here, that means there are way more data points to the right, past quartile 3, and somewhere along this line right here. Or that means there are simply just more data points around the right side. So yeah, so as you can see, if we see here, the median is going to be like 3, the quartile 3 is going to be 6, the first quartile is going to be 1. This as we mentioned before, the minimum, most minimum point that is above the lower fence is going to be right here, which is 1, and here it's going to be 16, so that's going to be the maximum, or the maximum number that can fit within the upper fence. So it's important to note that since it's to the left, that means that the data is skewed right because the maximum number that still fits within the upper fence is all the way over here. So yeah, it's basically what it is. So these are forms of error, which is a mistake that even I made when I was first understanding this topic. Don't mark the upper or lower fence. The vertical lines at the end simply show the minimum and max points that fit within the lower and upper fence. So this point right here is not actually where the lower fence is located. That's simply the lowest point, or the highest point, should I say, or the lowest point that can fit within here, and right here is the highest point that can fit within the upper fence. So it's not actually where the upper fence is located. So the fences are simply theoretical boundaries that determine the outliers. So anything past these minimum and maximum points or anywhere past the upper and lower fences are outliers, which we also draw. And we have to understand that quartile 1 and quartile 3 aren't measures of position, but measures of value of position. So I'll show this in Sketchpad over here. So imagine a data set of 3, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Or actually, let's make it a little bit more skewed to the right. Like that. Here would be the median, which is going to be quartile 2, the middle 50%. That means all the data points above. There's going to be 50% of data points above and 50% below. Between these two, there's no direct middle, so we average them out for 3. Here we do the same thing, which is going to be 5 plus 8 divided by 2, which is going to be 6.5. So as you can see here, if we draw the box plot, and we'll start from 1, just for simplicity, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll go all the way to 7 right here. This is quartile 3, and I think we're going to have to move this a little bit to the left so we can have more space. Yeah, like right there. So we'll go a little bit lower. And we'll extend this out to, let's go 8, or let's go 10 actually. Okay, now we have to calculate the interquartile range, which is just going to be 6.5 minus 3, which is going to give us 4. Then we'll calculate the lower and upper fences, which is just going to be 3 plus 1 point, or 3 minus 1.5, 4, which is going to be a negative value. So it's going to be negative 3, and then we'll do the same thing over here, which is just going to be 12, I believe, 12.5. So, my point was that it's important to understand that the 75th percentile, which is the third quartile, isn't going to be like 75% of the median, or 25% higher than what the median is. That just means that it's in the 75th position of the data points, and this is the first 25% of the data points. So